Ladies and gentlefish, how are we doing? I'm Coby with Coby Games to Survive, and today we're going over everything for the helicopters in HLL Vietnam. Starting us out with the settings, we're going to go over gameplay, field of view. This is personal preference. I'd say average is around 90 to 110. Obviously, the higher you make it, the more you're going to see. The lower you make it, the easier it's going to be able to see infantry, garrisons, tunnels, and vehicles on the ground. Next is controls. If you're playing on mouse and keyboard, there's an option down here to control helicopter with mouse. This is what I prefer, but this is going to be another one that heavily relies on personal preference. Here's my key bindings for PC. Since I have mouse controlling the helicopter, my yaw left and yaw right is A and D, and my increase collective and reduce collective, which is your power up, power down, is W and S key. Also is the helicopter supply drop, recon flare, and auto level. These are all assigned and are very important. We'll go over those a little bit later. Also in controller, I recommend layout A for piloting. Up to you, there's 3 different layout options you can pick from. Give them a try, see which one you like the best. With the implication of helicopters in video games, there's so many ways to fly them. Last for the settings will be under audio. You're going to be utilizing all 3 of these chats, so make sure your leadership is the loudest, unit is the second loudest, and proximity chat is your third loudest. With the settings out of the way, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, we're about to go to basic training, practice range in United States. Please practice here before going to a live match and wrecking helicopters, costing your commander supplies. Now, whether you're loading into a practice range or you're playing in a live match, you're going to want to select the helicopter. Create unit, and we'll go over the roles. The logistics officer is the role that you're going to be picking most of the time. The reason being is 1, they have access to command chat, so you're able to request your helicopters, whether you want supply or a transport heli, and 2 is that they have a notepad. They're able to place down outposts and garrisons. So if you're running a supply helicopter, you can literally fly it out to wherever you want to put a garrison, drop your supplies, hop out of the helicopter, and place down your garrison. It works really well. Unless you're playing with a group and you actually have comms, then you could pick pilot. There's a lot of benefits for running pilot with logistic officer at the same time. We'll go over that a little bit later. Now that we have our logistics officer role selected, let's take a look at the map and go over a few things. We can see there's 2 helicopters ready for us to jump into. If you hover over them, you can see what it is. We have a supply helicopter here, and we have a transport helicopter right here. Normally, in the very start of a match, there will be 2 to 3 transport helicopters. If you want to run supplies in the beginning, you're probably going to have to radio to your commander and ask him to place a supply helicopter at either HQ1, HQ2, or HQ3. I also like to include the numerical value too for it, so I'll say, Commander, can I get a supply helicopter at HQ3 Alpha 7, please? Let's start out with our transport helicopter. Go ahead and click on it, and we'll click deploy. The transport helicopter is mainly used for transporting troops to the main point, flanking locations, or relocating troops. It can also be used for having someone on the gun and doing gunning runs with. You can also fly these to the enemy garrison. If you fly them nice and close, it'll destroy an enemy garrison or an enemy tunnel. You walk up to the transport helicopter, you'll be able to hold F and be able to select which seat you want to go into. A big thing to take note before we take off is that the gunner left seat is at the top if you look at the bottom right hand of the screen, and the gunner right seat is at the bottom. This is very helpful if you're piloting and you have a gunner that hops in and you don't know what side they're in. You can look down and see if they're on the top or the bottom and judge if you need to face them to the left or the right. Now that we're inside the helicopter, I want to go over a few things with the helipad. For both the transport and the supply helicopter, if you land on this helipad and start the helicopter, it'll actually open up a spawn point for people to deploy on, kind of like a garrison. Also, if you cut the engine off, it'll start doing repairs to the helicopter, and then you can turn the engine back on once the repairs are finished. As well as for the supply helicopter, it'll fill up the supplies. We'll go over those a little bit more once we're actually flying. Okay, to start the helicopter, we're going to hold E to start the ignition. And you can't let go. If you let go, it'll reset. Alright, now that we're started, All I like to do, and usually before I even take off, is I'll hold my Alt key and I'll change my free look up just a tad so that when we're actually flying we can see more. Now we'll use our W key to increase our collective, and we'll start nosing forward. Another thing I want to mention is that your auto hover is going to automatically be on when you first spawn in. So if you click that, if you see if I let my mouse go, my helicopter is going to try to level out. We don't want that while we're flying because it fights against us. So if we click control, it'll turn that off. Now if you see if I turn my helicopter forward and let go of my mouse, it's just going to stay in that direction. This is very helpful if you're looking at your map and flying at the same time. You'll maintain your speed and not level out and start hovering. So I have the helicopter kind of leveled out here and I'm not clicking any buttons. Let's go over a few movements. We're going to increase our collective. That'll make us gain altitude. See, we'll start rising. If we decrease collective, we're going to start losing altitude. Now, if we use our yaw, you can see that it turns us left and right on an even plane. This is very helpful for fine movements when you're landing or making some minor adjustments for your gunner. You're also going to utilize this when making turns. Now we're going to go over our pitch and roll. So you can see, even without me increasing my collective, if I start pitching forward, the helicopter is going to go faster. If I want the helicopter to go even faster, I can increase my collective, and now we're going to go even faster. To make a sharp turn, all you're going to want to do is start rolling and pitching downwards to the left or to the right, and also give yourself some yaw with your A and D key, and then you can just level right back out. This turn is going to be very useful when landing. I highly recommend doing a J-hook turn for landing. Let's try that again. So we're just going to turn to the right while pitching our nose down and giving some right yaw. And that's just an easy J-hook turn. That's exactly how we're going to land. So let's land right here. Let's do a J-hook turn. And now instead of increasing our collective, we're just going to tap it just a tad and slowly let ourselves fall to the ground. Let's try landing one more time with a J-hook turn from the left side now. I'll talk you through exactly what I'm doing. So we're holding A key to turn left while tilting our nose downwards and to the left, and then giving some minor up and down collective to bring us to the ground. This is a perfect time to head back to the helipad and show you what I was talking about for repairs. We can run back to our main HQ spawn, it doesn't matter which one. So you can see we're coming up to the helipad now. I'm slowing down a little bit. I'm going to come in for that J-hook turn again. And then I am using some decreased collective right now to bring the helicopter down. And we're here. We'll turn off our engine, and you can see our hull damage is now repaired. This is very important, and this goes for both helicopters. At any point in time, your engine becomes damaged, even if it's 1%. If you turn off your helicopter, you won't be able to turn it back on unless it gets repaired. So if you're out in the field, you're either going to need an engineer to come with a torch to repair it, or you're going to have to radio to command to spawn you in another helicopter. This is the supply helicopter, my personal favorite, and the reason being is that you can literally win games for your team if you utilize this correctly. The supply helicopter is mainly going to be used to deliver supplies either on the point or in strategic locations to build a garrison. For this training course, we're going to build a garrison in Echo 3. Normally, you would radio to your commander and ask if he has anywhere that you would like a garrison, or check the map to see if there's any supply pings to deliver to. If not, make your best judgment, or just go around and deliver supplies to whoever needs them. So far as I can tell, the supply helicopter and the transport helicopter function the exact same and have the same exact health. Do keep in mind that an RPG hitting your tail can one-hit it, and 2 hits from an RPG can kill you. Other than that, you're not really going to take any damage unless you get a sneaky angle. Okay, you can see on our map now we're coming up to our point. I'm going to start lowering my collective. We'll do our J-hook. And we'll build our garrison right here. In the supply helicopter, you're going to want to switch seats to co-pilot. And then you're going to want to hold Q to drop supplies. The supply helicopter has 2 crates of supplies worth, which is 100 in total. Each piece is 50, which is enough to build a garrison. So you can actually, without going to the helipad, build 2 garrisons on your way out and go back and pick up more supplies. Now it's time for the very, very helpful tips I've been saving. One being, use your free camera more. When I'm going into very tight locations, using my free camera to look down and see the window underneath of me has helped me so many times. Autopilot mode can be used pretty well if you have a co-pilot who's trying to drop supplies midair out of the supply helicopter. In the transport helicopter, as a co-pilot, you can fire a recon flare, and that'll work just like the recon plane that the commander can drop, showing you nearby enemies. Next is small objects like tree stumps, fence posts, little rivets in the ground, such as these holes, little sandbags, just little lumps. All of this plays effect on your helicopter. And if it's not a very flat spot, this helicopter does not like to stay upright. So just be very mindful of fields that might have been cleared out, like lumber fields or maybe some crop fields that have tree stumps, rocks, or lumps of mud or dirt. Another tip is always have a plan before you leave your helipad. So if you open up your map, if you're listening to your commander, he tells you where he wants supplies, make sure you look at them, give them a mark so that your commander knows that you are listening to him and you're on your way, or radio to your team if they're like, hey, we need some supplies on the active point, can you bring them on over? Just put a marker down or radio, say, hey, yep, on my way. You got a transport helicopter, every now and again radio, say, hey, does anybody need a ride anywhere? Does anybody need a gunship anywhere? Be vocal, be verbal, keep your ears out, keep your eyes out, and you guys will be flying in no time.